Hello everyone and welcome to my Flosstube channel, Coco Creates. So I'm Zoe and this is Coco. And this is my channel all about my cross stitching and sometimes there'll be knitting and crochet. I don't have any of that to show you this month because this video is kind of 2 months of my stitching and I'm already concerned about how long it might be without me then adding other bits in as well. So we'll keep it to just stitching this month. But yeah, like I said, this is a 2-month recap for April and May. I was going to say June then, I thought no, I already just started June. We haven't got that far yet. So yeah, just April and May. May's been a really rough month with my health, and sort of by the time I was kind of well enough to be recording a video, we were already halfway, sort of 2/3 through the month, and I thought, you know what, I'll just wait till the end of the month rather than trying to kind of do like a 6-week video and then a 2-week. I thought, no, I'm just going to get out of sync if I do that, so we will stick to monthly and we will just wait. So I did. But yeah, so April, I actually did quite a decent amount of stitching in April. Part of that did come from, I did do the 24 hours of cross stitch weekend. When was that? Did I write it down? I don't think I did. I think it was the weekend. Was it the weekend of the 18th? I can't remember. No, Easter weekend. There we go. So I didn't actually highlight it. I knew what project I worked on, so I was just having to like find that on the days. So yeah, it was Easter weekend. So first weekend of the month. And that weekend I actually put in just over 6,000 stitches, 6,003. And that kind of really set off the month with quite a lot of stitches. So yeah, so in April I did a total of 21,536 stitches, which is that the most I've done? Oh no, not quite. No, March was 21,900, so all bar 400 stitches. It was my best stitching month, but still, I can tell that my brain is lagging. And I was really hoping not to have to edit this too much, but I don't want to have to leave all of these like gaps in. So hopefully it won't be too bad. Where am I going? Okay, first project of the month, right. So I don't think this was actually the first project I worked on in April, but it's the first one I'm going to show because this is what we always do on my videos. We start with my 3 main goals of the month. My first one being the goal that is associated with the project that is associated with my Whip Go. So Whip Go is the brainchild of Jessie Marie over at Jessie Marie Does Stuff, and this is my 2nd year participating in it. And just for in case you haven't seen any of my other videos, how I've organised it is there's just one project on my Whip Go board, but I have assigned a different number of stitches to each square, and then depending on what numbers are called or what squares are called, that's the number of stitches I do each month. But yeah, so this is my Amazing Animal Kingdom piece by Amy Stewart. It's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. It is way too big for me to hold up to actually show you, so I will be putting pictures in as always. Hopefully this was a picture of what it will look like when it's finished. I started in the bottom left corner with the polar bears, and here's where it was at the start. And since I am doing the 2 months together for quickness of the video, I'm going to smush them together for this. So here's where it was at the end of April and May together. So I had, let's see, it was 2,900, so 2,900 in April and 2,800 stitches in May, which that was my goals, sorry, but in total I did 5,860 stitches across the 2 months. So I achieved both of those goals in their respective months. And we are currently on track for oh, how do I say it? Like so my whipgrave board has a different number of stitches for each square. Some of the numbers are very small. I think the smallest was 400 stitches and the largest was 2,800 stitches on each square. And even though the numbers are called at random, we do seem to have had about an even number of, I can't say this, I can't think of the words, like an even number of small and big numbers have been called. So I'm not going to end the year with only big numbers left, if that makes sense. We seem to be, you know, keeping on track quite nicely with what we're doing each month, which is good, because that was the one worry that I had, or sort of concern, is that we'd kind of end the month with all of the big numbers left, or all of the big numbers would get drawn sort of very close together, and it would mean sort of having to do lots of stitching every single month on the trot. I think there is still, the biggest number is still on there. The smallest number's gone, but the second smallest is still on there. So, you know, there is still the option for a 5,000 stitches in a month to be drawn, which would be 2 of the big numbers. So there is still the option that that may happen, but we'll see. So then next up in my monthly goals is my woodland stocking piece. I've just noticed I don't actually have the pattern out, the booklet to show you. Where is it? So this is from the Stony Creek collection, book number 480, and it's the Christmas in the Woods. And I'm hoping to have it done for this Christmas. So what I did is I basically took the chart and I looked at the chart. It's about 240-ish stitches high. So I worked out if I do like 20 stitch chunks as we go up, I should have it done in the 12 months. I started this in December, so in theory my final month working on this would be November, so that leaves me December to actually finish it into the stocking. So yeah, as of this month we have reached the halfway mark of this project. Let me untangle myself. And so this is being stitched with the raw broderie threads as called for, and the 2 fancy threads that it calls for. I can't remember what they were. Was it called for? Is it a couple of weeks? Yeah, a couple of weeks on there. And oh, I am doing it on Megan Coffee Crafts fabric, and oh, let's get you up there, and there we go. So April had me working on the chipmunk that's here, and then May I came up into working on the deer, which is up here. So that's the bottom of the deer. Where are we? There we go. But yeah, so all this is complete. I have been working the back stitch as I go. Oh, that's heavy. And I do remember I was wondering whether to so the barbed wire, or the cable that's around the branch and the handle for the lantern were both charted to be done as regular back stitch, but kind of 1 stitch at a time, so no diagonals. There's no diagonal back stitch in the chart, so it's always going around the square like that. So I have been sort of working the back stitch as I go to kind of put in those diagonals and the smoothness of those lines. But when it came to these, I knew they had to be quite I knew I wanted them to look like strings sort of thing, or like the handle of that, so they want it to be quite smooth. That's the one, the roundness. So I decided to couch them instead. And I remember last time I did mention that I was worried about sort of couching it, how it was, whether it was going to be too baggy, and that I wanted to wait until the end to do that. But then after thinking about it, I thought, well, if it's too baggy, if it's going to be too baggy to stitch now, it's going to be too baggy if the stitches are long. It's going to be too baggy then when it's used as a stocking. So I need to be couching it, you know, quite frequently to make sure those stitches are quite small. Those loops are quite small. I don't know if I'm describing this very well. But anyway, hopefully it looks okay. So yeah, so we've got these here, and then the handle for that. And like you see that they're couched quite well. There's no loop to get a finger under. So I'm hoping that will be okay. Obviously time will tell. But yeah, so we're halfway up. I mean, I think I've done the smaller half because the top half of this stocking is very full coverage where the tree is. So yeah, whereas there was lots of open space here under the branches. So yeah, so I'm concerned that the half that's left is sort of the heavy duty half. But obviously time will tell for that one. But yeah, so over those 2 months I put in 4,099 stitches, so about 2,000 stitches a month, which I think is, give or take, is what I estimated, you know, as we go. So yeah, so still on track with that one. And oh, let's pop that back over there. And then my final monthly goal piece is the sal from Country Cottage Needleworks, and this is the European Christmas Market sale they have running this year, and this is the one that I did this month. So this is the Christmas wreath stand. It's the last one along the top top row, that's the word. And there we go. So last month as well, I worked on the stockings, which was there. I didn't get the picture of the stockings out to show you, but I've stitched it as charted, so that's what it would look like. Again, I did forget to put the berries in this top border, so when I picked up in May to do this one, I had to go back and do the berries again. So that's twice out of the 4. So out of the 4 that had that on, but 2 of them I forgot. So 50% with forgetting. But anyway, again, this is a Megan Coffee Crafts fabric. Apologies for the wrinkles. But yes, so it's the one that she dyed specifically for this sale. And oh, hello again, yes. And there we go. So that's the top row all finished. And that was 3,698 stitches there. Did I make any changes to this one? Oh, I think I couched the ribbons for those 2 wreaths. I don't know if it's going to show up very well, and I did a darker skin tone on the stall holder just there. But yeah, so that is that one. Now I am umming about this next one down, just because I don't know if I like the balance of it enough. So I'm very far away here, but I can't hold it up and point at the same time. I don't have enough hands for that. So these two stalls on their squares are kind of on the outside of the square, and there's a person on the inside, and then these are on the outside of the square, and there's like something else on the inside. Does that make sense? And then that's mimicked on the bottom row, so you've got kind of stall, person, stall, item, item, stall, person, stall, and then, which is fine because that mirrors, but then these two that go at the sides are also the same, so the stall on the outside and the person on the inside, and visually it just lines up too nice. Oh, sorry, Coco. There you go. So I put something on the windowsill so she couldn't get up there. There we go. But anyway, so the way it lines up, where you've got the stalls sort of running down here, and then a line of people, person, person, person. I just didn't like that. So I already have my next two months. So I already have June and July's pieces here. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure we have the crepe stand and then the mulled cider stand sort of go both on this side underneath the wreath stand. And if you see what I was talking about, where are we? Sort of the stands are both on this side, and then the people are both this side. And you're all probably sat there being like, yeah, that doesn't matter, it's fine. But for me, I'm thinking, I don't think I like it. So I'm thinking of swapping these two blocks around. Well, my choice is, do I swap them around? So I put the crepe stand here, or do I kind of flip the actual chart so that this crepe stand is still going where it should be, it's just a mirror image of it that's stitched. So yeah, and if I do swap it over, again, because if I do just swap it and put the crepe stand here, and then whatever this one's going to be here, I then run into the issue of, then I have sort of oh, brain, sort of all the sort of female presenting store holders, and then the male ones over here instead of alternating. So now I'm like, well, now I'm going to have to change my people around so that we haven't got all of, you know, each gender together. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but still. Like I said, you probably look at it and thinking, but it'll be fine, it doesn't matter. But my brain is just like, I can't have the same things all together because it has to be like more organised than that. Coco, what are you doing? Can you stop touching things, please? Come on, that's my dice. Thank you. But yeah, so like I said, I'm still a bit unsure of next, which one I'm doing next and where I'm going to do it. I think it'll be a lot of work to try and mirror image the whole stall. At least this one, because this one has, I'd have to move this part of the stall over, so I would have to mirror image that stall. Had it been a stall like that I could just scooch to the left, it would be fine. But because it is a directional stand, I would need to flip it, and I'm just like, can I be bothered? I don't know, time shall tell, because either way, obviously that'll get done this month, and I will have to have decided, so you'll all find out next month. But yes, Coco, can you stop leaning out the window? Thank you. She's been very nosy. There we go. So that's the sews. That was my 3 goals for the months. my 3 standard monthly goals, and like I said, I achieved those on both of my months, which was fine. Now, to be fair, for May, that was pretty much all of my stitching in May. I basically did 2 other projects in May, so most of my stitching for that was in April. For this lot was in April. So let's see what we've got. Oh, right. So what else did we work on? Now we're coming with my April projects for now, and like I said, Easter weekend was right at the start of April, and it was my 24 hours of cross stitch weekend. I did this with Jenna Red-Headed Stitcher. I think because the official 24 hours of cross stitch weekend, I can't remember when that was, but whenever it was, I wasn't home, so I wasn't able to do it. So we kind of moved it and did our own then instead. Now I picked up this piece, which is my avocado toast, and I will put in a photo where I started. If I can, I will do like a little slideshow of, because I did take a photo every hour of stitching, but it depends if I'm well enough to kind of get all those photos edited together. I do not know. But anyway, the reason I picked up this piece was because on the previous year's last year's 24 hours of cross stitch, did I write down where it was? Right, found it. Anyway, so last year in July, I did the 24 hours of cross stitch weekend, and I worked on the red Christmas piece, and I did 5,956 stitches. And that piece was a single colour, give or take. I think there was a couple of different colours in it, but I worked on basically the border, which was just a single colour. So yeah, I did 5,956 stitches in the weekend, and I thought, I wonder if I can beat that. And I had a look around, and I thought, well, if I'm going to beat it, it has to be a project that I can stitch quickly. So either one that only has, you know, a single colour. So for that, I thought, well, I could pick up Pandemic, because that's just a single colour. Or one that I didn't have to check the chart too much. And that would have been my Carolyn Manning piece, which is the avocado toast, because this is basically just squares and triangles. So once you know where the square is, I know exactly how big that square is, because it's the same size as every other square, and then it's mirror imaged around, so I know it's going to go in each corner exactly the same. So a lot less sort of looking at the chart and counting. So I thought, well, I'll give this a go, and I did beat it. Like I said, I got 6,003 stitches, which was what, well, 40 oh gosh, brain, 47. So yeah, I did 47 more stitches on this than I did the Red Christmas. So I did beat it just. So yeah, it was very close to the wire. But anyway, here is, oh, let's show it the correct way. Well, I suppose it's rotational, so it doesn't matter, but I mean the direction that the photos would have been in. And here is where I finished. Whoops, there we go. And yeah, so I think we've almost reached the bottom, or the edge of this side. But yeah, and there we go. So I basically popped it in the Q-snap, and I just kept to the one side because I didn't have a Q-snap big enough to fit the entire complete thing in it. So I thought, well, if I just focus on the one side, and then I don't have to worry about moving the Q-snap around. So yeah, so obviously up until then I had been sort of trying to go in the square, but there we go. So yeah, so, and I didn't write down how much. Oh no, I did. Haha, see, I was thinking. So when I started, this was only at 13% complete, and when I finished we were almost at 30%. So I managed to put in almost 27% of this in those 2 days. 2 and a bit days I think it was, yeah. So yeah, so getting on really well. And also when I was at the Essex Needles retreat back in March, I did notice that she had a sale on, so I did buy a couple more of her designs. So once I finish this, I do have a couple of others that I can start once I finish that one. But yes, what's next? So then the next project that I worked on for March was my I think the first day, April, sorry, not March, the first day of April, I was still working on my Medusa, but I'm pretty sure I did show you this in last month's video. But because I've got it out, there we go. That's where we're up to on that. But yeah, with that day's stitching, I've just seen my note. I did actually show you that in my March video. So next we have, whoops, this one out. This is out of the Ultimate Cross Stitch Travels magazine. It's a World of Cross Stitching magazine. Obviously the chart will also be available in a regular edition of the magazine. So the Ultimate was basically where they took a variety of their charts from across all of the magazines and put them all together. I don't think it tells me what actual individual magazine this came from. No. But yes, so this is a Maria Diaz piece. So there's Maria Diaz. I like quite a few of her designs. I think I remember mentioning this when I was going through some of the magazines before, and I'd pick up a design and think, oh, I like that, and then look over and realise the designer. I'm like, of course I like it. Like it's Maria's. There's a couple of designers like that you know, I'll be flicking through the magazine and you find one you like and you're like, oh, of course I like it. I like all of her stuff. So, you know, that's quite nice. But yeah, so this is it goes across the fold of the page. It's sort of inconvenient to show, but this is the piece. Now, I think this is the first piece that I've shown you, maybe, that I worked on when I was at my little retreat with some ladies from around the UK. I think we're all over. I think one lady is from up in Hull, one lady's down in Essex, someone's over west some way. But yes, so we come from all over, and we basically hired out a sort of like a holiday home house over in Norfolk. It's on the coast near Great Yarmouth, for a week, and we sort of self-catering. We kind of stay there and basically stitch for the whole week, which is really nice. We've all rebooked to go there this time, the same time next year, not this time next year, same time in April. So I think it was the, give or take, it's the last week of April. I think we've booked next year, but we've booked whenever. It's not relevant. It's not relevant. Back to this. So this piece I actually worked on when I was there. And this piece I'm doing on 32 count. It was a piece of scrap fabric that I found that was just about the right size if I stitched it over one. So I did. And here, I don't know if I've got a photo of when I started, but here it is now. So I finished round here. So this map is based on, it's an old Greek map, isn't it? Yeah, so a couple of old Greek charts. So you'll be able to tell that not all of the places on the map are correct. They're not all the correct size or to scale. Like I said, they're based on one of these sort of ancient maps. So let's try and work out what we've got. So this green bit, this is Africa. Here's Europe, and here's Asia. So we've got India. I think this is supposed to be the Philippines, I think. And then I think this little blob over here, this tiny blob, I think that's supposed to be Australia. You know, I can just imagine them sort of like the map and knowing that there's a bit of land over there somewhere, just draw it on. We don't know exactly where, but it's over there. I think that blob is supposed to be Australia. If not, it is a very uniquely shaped Japan. But anyway, so I still have a little bit more to fill in here, sort of just in between these islands and the darker water. Added a couple of the mountain ranges in that are finished, and then I decided to come over here, so over to the Americas. I did South America, I did Antarctica. I then realised in doing Antarctica that I made South America one row too long or too short, so Antarctica is now one row higher or lower. So then it was like, well, now I can't stop stitching because now I'm going to have to keep stitching to fix the mistake that I made, because by the time I pick this up next, I'll forget that I made a mistake and I might count off of somewhere and then be even more wrong. So I had to keep going to finish all of this and get it filled in so that I could kind of try and make the water thicker in some places and thinner in others, so that eventually it lines up. And where are we? And also that where it lines up to these people here, the fire and so you can't really see earth lady there. I tried to line up the edges so that when I come back to stitch it, when I stitch them in, I will be able to count correctly for their positioning as well, so I don't end up like with this bit running into where I've already stitched. I wasn't going to unpick it, my mistake. This is over 1 on 32 count. You can't unpick this. Like, there is not enough willpower in the world to unpick from this. You make a mistake, unless you notice it within the next 2 stitches, it's too late. It's too late. No, it's too late. So yeah. Now I will admit I did have a bit of a stress about this chart, because as I was working on it, I hadn't really paid attention to the other half of the chart. So the chart is over 2 pages, and I'd always had it sort of folded in half so that I could see just the one page that sort of had, you know, Europe, Asia, Africa on, which is this part that I'd already done. So I was only working on this part, so I had the book folded in half so I could only see this half. So it wasn't until I had it out on my lap and I was moving over to South America and I come to this side that I'm like, why is North America so large? I was like, it is the size of the entire rest of the map combined. Why is it so big? And I had this whole stress about it because I'm just like, America is not that big. North America is like the smallest of these land masses that we have. Why is it so big? And so I looked into, and that's when I realised it was based on these ancient maps, and I did have a look into it, and one of these ancient maps was basically drawn from when they sailed across this way. So they knew the outline of this side of the coast, and someone else had sailed around the globe in the other direction, so they knew the outline of this piece of coast. But what they didn't know is the stuff in between. So they basically drew this bit, and were just like, there's an amount of space in the middle. And that's why it's so stretched out. So you can sort of see here, where have we got, like this is Mexico coming up here, and then this bit here is this whole piece from there all the way around here is California, which is, California is not bigger than Mexico. So yeah, so they'd kind of just guessed that there was an amount of space between these two lines, and that's why America was so big. And I was getting so stressed about it because I was like, I can't stitch. Like, why? I don't understand. And I was like, well, I could just cut America off here, sort of do a smaller California and then come up here and then leave this as space. And then there's going to be like a blob of space in there. And then I'm like, also, what's this random land? Is that's when I thought, well, is this like, is that the same landmass? So is that Australia and that's also Australia, or are they two different blobs? Is this Hawaii, and for some reason Hawaii is so comically big it's bigger than half of Europe? I'm like, I was very confused as to that one. So yeah, but I thought I will, you know, suck it up that America is so comically large, and I will stitch it as charted, give or take the mistakes that I've already made. I will attempt to stitch it as charted. But yeah, it's just looking at it on, I think because it's difficult here, because when you're sort of in the book, you know, you sort of don't really see how big that section is, until obviously you open up the chart, when the chart is fully on the 2 pages, and you're like, oh, that's how big that piece is. So yes, but we'll get there eventually. So yeah, as you can see, this entire piece, this is North America, and this is literally the rest of the world. But we're getting there. We're getting there slowly. So how many stitches did I put into that one? 1,721 tiddly widdly stitches. This is 1 strand of DMC, full cross. Like I said, on the 32 count. So it will be very, very small when it's finished. Very small and cute. Probably fit in like an 8x10 frame or something. I think 7x9 will be pushing it. What are we on? Oh no, might fit in 7x9. But yeah. So that was my journey with that piece. Whoops. Pop you down there. Okay. Yeah, so then next up, I think I did work on another piece, but I also worked on it in May, so I will show you that in a minute. We will oh yes, hello Coco. Oh right, okay. Yeah, so apparently we're going to take a quick break, and I will show you my Wipopoly rolls from April. So I had 3 rolls, so I will show you those now. Hi everyone, and welcome to the 27th of March. This is my first roll of the month. April. Wait, what month are we in? It is April, isn't it? 27th of April. Right. Okay, but let's see what we can get, and if we can get it worked on obviously by the end of the month. So 4, 1, 2, 3, oh 4. Where's my magnet not moving? So that is the telephone company, which is to be worked on any SAL. So let's see, what SALs have we got? So have I got any SALs on my list of, so I'm just getting my list of whips out that I haven't worked on, that I hadn't worked on in 2025. There's the Glitter Village SAL that I could work on, and the Main Street SAL, so basically houses, because they're both houses of some description. But yeah, so let's go and have a look. Okay, so here is this is the High Street SAL. So I thought I'd pick this one up to work on, because I know that I was almost finished the cafe, so I had a little bit sort of inside these windows to do and sort of finish off those birds. But I think that was almost it. I haven't looked at the picture, the pattern to check, but I think that was almost it. So maybe 400 stitches we'll get that one finished, and then there will just be two more to do after that. So yeah, so that'll put me at 2/3 finished once I get this one done. So yeah, so I will see you soon. Morning. So we are on the morning of the 28th of the month, but I did manage to finish this last night. As you can see, I had slightly less than 400 stitches left to do on this, so I've made two little lines of the next shop, which is the bookshop. But yeah, so finished my cafe there. The only changes I made to this, I don't know if the camera will pick it up. So this flower, I did French knots for the middle, and then I sort of just did like long stitches all the way around for the petals. And I did change the colour of the stem. So in the stock picture it was green, but the pattern called for it to be the same dark brown as the pot, so I changed it back to the green. Oh, and I did some little back stitch swirlies along the bottom of the awning there. But yeah, there we go. They're the two little birds. So that was exactly 400 stitches into that one. And obviously we're only on Tuesday, so let's see what else we can do. I'm going to try that again because I dropped the dice on the floor. So let's, oh yes, oh hello Coco, oh that's it, yes, let's make a mess. Well done, good girl, thank you so much. I'm glad you're involved. Are you going to come say hello? Yes, there we go. Right, she's going to chase after the dice this time. Right, 5. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's okay. That's Pandemic. I have actually worked on that already this month because it is one that I took away on retreat. So let me go and grab that one. So this I am stitching with Silks for You in plain white silk on a piece of fabric, hand dyed fabric. The dye doesn't dye anymore, I'm afraid. But there we go, that's where I've got to. Let's try and light down a bit there. Actually, that would be better, wouldn't it? Right, there we go. So that's where I've got to so far. I think I'm at about the 20-ish% mark. But yeah, so 500 stitches. Well, my thread is over here, caught on. I think I was sort of working down this bit to fill in here. So I might just carry on with that bit. So that'll be 500 more stitches, which, considering I have been grossly, what is it, I can't think of the word, not overcompensating, you know, where you've kind of said, oh, that'll be about 100 stitches, and actually you're way off. So I have been way off several times with this project, so I'm pretty sure 500 stitches is probably just going to fill in like this little tiny little space here, but we shall see. So yeah, so let us crack on with that. Okay, so we're a bit later on in the afternoon, and I've done my 500 stitches. So what was it, 512 I actually did. And yeah, like I said, I overestimated, underestimated, what's the one, how many stitches it would be. So 500 stitches, I did this little dog here and sort of this squiggly border, and then just started to fill in a little bit down here where the dragonflies are. And yeah, that was my 500 stitches. So there's no way I'd have managed to get this section done as well, in with all that. But yeah, so let's have another roll. Okay, so I got my dice and let's see what we've got next. 8. Okay, so 8 is even number, so we move down here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's back on our chance, and I've just tucked my chance cards away, thinking, oh, I won't need those anytime soon. So let's go grab them back out. What did we have? Chance, there. Chance was the pink ones. So next card, so the bottom of the pack is, oh no, it's not going to focus, is it? You fully finish a whip, receive 150 reduction. Okay, so that'll be a reduction off the next whip I land on. So that was an 8. Right, let's see. 12. Okay, something tells me I'm not going to get these stitches done this month. 1, 2, 3, and we're even, so we change again. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, okay, bath time again. I did land on the other square of that last month, so, or maybe not last month, but you know, at some point this year, because there's a sticker on it. So yes, bath time. What we're looking at, so that's a 12, that was an 8, so that's a 20, which is 2,000, and I get 150 stitch reduction for my chance card, so that's 1,850. Do I think I can get that done by the end of the month? Oh, we'll have to see. I've got what, 3 days left. We'll give it a go and obviously see how we get on then. But yeah, hopefully those videos all sat together quite nicely. I haven't watched them for over a month, so I'm hoping they made sense at the time. But yes, so I had 3 rolls in April, and that pretty much took me right up until the end of April. Yeah. So then we come to May. Now, as I said previously, I really didn't stitch much in May. I had my 3 gold pieces, which I achieved, and I did those. That took me all the way up until the 21st of May just to do those 3 pieces. Which, considering they're normally done within the first kind of 10 days to 2 weeks, yeah, it took me double the amount of time. So I was really struggling to sort of sit down for long periods of time to stitch. So looking at the numbers, like there's at least what have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 9 days in that month that I stitch less than 300 stitches a day. So yeah, I mean, the other days I did stitch, you know, an acceptable amount, 600, 800, give or take. But there was a lot of days when I didn't stitch a lot at all. So yeah, so that, like I said, that took me to the 21st. That left me kind of just over a week to have a look at the rest. And I thought, at the time, I thought I didn't have it in me to do a Ripopoly roll. I wanted something easy to work on, something that I could just kind of pick up and do a little bit that was blocky, a big count. So, and something I knew I had a goal to finish, and that was this piece. So this is my Mini Tea Time by Soda Stitch. And I will tell you now, this piece was sent to test me. So I picked it up and I thought, I remembered last time that I said what I wanted to do is, so I've got hair, like a really long hair hanging down in front of my face, and it keeps tickling my nose. What I wanted to do before I forgot was come in and put this banner in at the top. So I sat and did that. That took me 1 whole day to do that one. That was 381 stitches, believe it or not. That tiny little banner, that took me a whole day. So I did that, but I can do that. And then I started stitching down here, and I started stitching on the, I'll put the actual stock photo in, on the bottom right of the chart where the sugar and cream was. Now, I have mentioned in a previous video, if you look on the bottom left of the chart, you'll see there is milk and tomatoes. And I couldn't for the life of me work out what the tomatoes were there for. I understand they're a fruit, but this is a quintessentially British tea time, teacup, you know, teacup, cakes, coffee grinders, not quite British, but you know, coffee grinder, bread jam. So a British tea time, we don't have tomatoes. I've never met a person that does have tomatoes. I've asked quite a few people. I think I was on like a Zoom call with Jenna, the redheaded stitcher, one night, and I was like, I don't understand it. And she's, why don't you turn them into strawberries? Like, they're kind of a similar shape. They're pretty much the same colour. Like, they're both red-ish. Turn them into strawberries. Because I think I was wondering whether to kind of take this strawberry jam jar and duplicate it down there, but do it in yellow and have it as a honey jar, so like milk and honey. But, you know, but then when she said just change them into strawberries, I'm like, they're basically 3/4 of the way there. I'm like, of course they're strawberries. So I did a little bit of squiggling. I sort of took the chart and I basically drew on the chart to kind of think, well, I'll, you know, obviously take them from being round, I'll kind of squish them a little bit and then like a little bit down so that they're kind of like strawberry-ish shaped. You know, green top still. I might just change the colours so that instead of being sort of the shiny red, they're now kind of reddy pink. I thought, okay, I can do that. Then it came to this side where I started, but I thought, well, I'm going to leave that because, you know, I still wasn't 100% sure how I was going to do it, because I did also want to like try and backstitch the little seeds of the strawberries, and I thought, not 100% there, I'll go for the easy bit, let's go on the other side. And I started stitching it, and then I realised it was sugar and cream. Now if you look, there's a sugar bowl and then there's a cream bowl. Now cream doesn't come in bowls, it comes in jugs. You pour cream, you scoop sugar. So I messaged this to Jenna and I was just like, oh my god. I was having it, I don't even know what time it was. It was probably like 9 o'clock at night, I don't even know. But I'm just messaging Jenna all these pictures to be like, what is this? I don't understand. Like proper freaking out, just being like, I'm gonna throw this in the bin, like what do I even do? And I was like, do I change it from being cream and have it be a jar of something else, like I don't know, a jar of tea leaves? Do I try and change it into a jug? Then if I change it into a jug, it's still got that lid, so do I replace the lid with something? Because obviously a jug wouldn't need that purple lid there, so do I make that into something else? Do I just leave it blank and kind of try and patch up the rest of the, you know, fill in the rest of the blank, rest of the gaps? Obviously the voice of reason, she was like, it'll be fine, you don't have to fill it with anything, just change it into a jug, it'll be fine. So, okay, so again I got out my pen and paper and I recharted it to be a jug of cream. Jug of cream, bowl of sugar. So there we go. So after all that, there is my bowl of sugar with its lid and its 2 little sugar cubes, and then the jug of cream with the little spout coming out. Obviously I figured the spout was easier for me to draw than to try and draw a handle, so the handle is behind the sugar bowl conveniently, and I got rid of the purple lid, so it's just a bowl. It's just a shadow now that I'm there. But yeah, it's not brilliant, like I'm not 100% sold on it. Like I still look at it and think, oh, I don't think it's quite right, but you know what, it's close enough. You can tell what it's supposed to be, and that's all that matters. So I did that one, and then I thought, what can go wrong with biscuits? So I thought I'd do the biscuits as well. So I did those 2 biscuits in the middle. But yeah, now all that's left is this last piece. I did try and estimate, I think it's just over 1,000 stitches left in there. I basically tried to guess, like there was about 10-ish blocks of 100, you know, give or take. So yeah, it's about 1,000-ish stitches left to do. and then this piece will be finished. So at some point in the next couple of months I need to get that square done, and then this little sort of sashing also gets repeated right at the bottom all the way along, so I just need to do that as well, and then it will be finished. So my goal is to have this finished by August, because at the end of August this piece turns 10 years old, and I would like it to not turn 10. I would like it to not be a whip, you know, that's 10 years old. So yeah, so at some point I've got June, July and August to get this finished. We will be getting our milk and our strawberries finished, and our little swooshy at the bottom, and then I can throw this piece in a box and not look at it until I've got over the trauma of the tomatoes and the bowl of cream. There is a companion piece to this that I do have called Cookie Time. That I'm not going to start that piece until I've picked over the entire chart with a magnifying glass and a fine-tooth comb, because if there are any things in that chart that I'm going to need to correct, you know, in a loose term, I mean amend to what I need, then I shall not be stitching it. I also won't be using the Ada that comes with it. This piece is 10 years old. I can still stand the Ada up. Like, it hasn't softened at all. So yeah, which, I mean, fair enough, it doesn't use the same brand of sizing that my baby dragons did, so there is nothing blocking the holes of this Ada, so it is at least a bit easier to work on, but it is definitely a force the needle through the hole kind of jobby. But yes, if I do decide to do the Cookie Time, I won't be using the fabric that I got with the kit. But anyway, so how many stitches did this have? This had 2,104 stitches put into it. But yes, so we are getting there. But yes, this has definitely been a test, this piece. But yes, and then I just have my, do you mind? Thank you, Coco. Yes. I just have two more pieces to show. Now, this piece, I did also work on this one in April. I forgot it was on there. But I did actually manage to finish this piece. So this was the piece that I started in December at the winter solstice as the Pick Up a Penguin sale with Jenna the Red-Headed Stitcher. So this fabric is again Megan Coffee Crafts fabric. It's a lot more muted and purpley than it's shown on the camera. It's a sparkly, opalescent, sorry, 28 count even weave, linen, and here is my penguin, all finished. So this is a Maloka Designs piece. It was in a magazine. I think it was one of the World of Cross Stitch magazines. You'll have to go back to the December video where I tell you which edition it is and where to find it. It is also available on her website. But yes, so there we go, finally finished. So one of the mandala penguins. I don't think on the camera it's coming right, so you can see, yeah, there you go, you can see all the, it has got several different colours in the collar here and in the face. It's not actually showing up very well on the camera, but in real life you can see the yellow and the pink and the peach, so it's not just white. But yes, so that is the winter solstice piece all finished finally, which is good because I started the goose or the duck for my spring solstice, and I was like, I need to get this piece finished really, because I was supposed to have, you know, that finished before I started the goose, and technically I want to get the goose finished before the summer solstice, which is like next month. So we'll see how we go. But yeah, I might get the goose out and work on him again this month, or you might have to, you know, wait for a bit. But yes, it's finally finished. It was 806 stitches to pop in the head to get him finished. But yeah, all done and ready Get feeling like I'm going to sneeze, but then I don't sneeze, so I'm like waiting. Right, and then the last piece that I worked on, so I did work on this for a couple of days in April when I was at the retreat, and then I finished it up at the end of May. So I put in so this had a total of 2,821 stitches put into it, and it is the chart that I was lent from Alison at the Essex Needles Retreat, which is the Anne Orchard Sweet as Honey Biscorne. There we go. So I stitched this with, oh, let me grab the thread. So I stitched this with Tiger's Eye Weeks Dye Works. So there we go, which is that colour there. Whoops. So it, oh gosh, I did have it out. It was, there we go. Yeah, it's the 430s of brown. So sort of 435, 434, 436. Those colours are in that. Now, I hadn't originally thought I was going to do this on a piece of 36 count, so I was only going to use one strand. However, then when I actually got around to getting some fabric for it, I ended up buying a piece of 28 count, and therefore I needed 2 strands. So it did use, I mean, this is all that's left from the second skein. So I have 1.5 lengths, and I got 6 lengths out of a skein. So what's that, like a quarter? I have a quarter of one left, and it took 2 skeins. Oh my god, brain. So it took 1 3/4 skeins to do. Why was that so hard? So if you are only going to use 1 strand, then 1 skein will be enough. But if you're going to be using 2 strands at a time, you will need the second skein. So there we go. That was Tiger's Eye. And yeah, I've got a offcut. So this was at the retreat in Norfolk. There was a stitching shop in Great Yarmouth that we popped into that was selling basically lots of random offcuts. So this is a piece I had, and it was like £2, £1.70, something like that. But yeah, I think, did I have a piece of paper in here that says what it is? It is vintage light, 6 inches by 28 inches. So I don't know what brand, but it's a linen, it's 28 count, and there we go. So I did this piece while I was at the retreat, and I did this one this month. So that was April and May. The bee did have a lot more stitching. I think this was about 1,100 stitches. This was about 1,600 stitches. So yeah, all finished. And I have stitched the border ready for whip stitching together the biscorne. So all I need to do now is actually cut it apart and sew it together. Now the border stitch, you're not going to be able to see this, but you might be able to tell that it's a bit thicker at the back. So this was, I basically used the technique that I learned from a lady at the Essex Needles Retreat back in September. She was doing a finishing class. Oh gosh, what was her name? If I remember, I'm going to have to insert it in here. But basically, where you work this line from the back as a stem stitch. So I'll see if I can insert a picture of what stem stitch looks like, because there's no way I'm going to be able to describe it with the way my brain is at the minute. But you basically get, you do get a thicker line on the back, but it does make a very neat line on both the back and the front for you to work from. And because there's sort of almost double the amount of thread in it, not only do all of the back stitch lines line up the exact same way, it is a bit stronger because there is that extra amount of thread in there. So when you pull it taut, it's only pulling against itself rather than pulling from other stitches, so it is a bit stronger there. So that was the technique I used to run those 2 lines in. But yeah, basically it just needs cutting and then sewn together. Now this fabric, I don't know if you can tell from the screen, but it's very frayy. So there you go, you can see against the wall. But yeah, it's very frayy. So I'm thinking when I cut it, I might actually need to leave a bit of a hem, a bit of a, you know, a gap, and actually overlock it all the way around before I then sew it together. Just I think it's going to be very easy to pull those stitches out and just fray away. So I might run the overlock around it when I cut it, just so it has that square border there. And then, sorry about the plastic. And then there's these little seed beads that you encompass as you're doing the whip stitching around, and then two two larger beads that make the sort of centre that you put in the centre there. So you can see these little beads are evenly spaced around. Now this is obviously just the leftovers from what Alison used, but I did count up and there is enough for me to do again. I mean, there's only enough for me to do it again this time, like it wouldn't be enough to do it a third time, but there is enough for me to do exactly as charted for that. So yeah, so I'll be using those beads as I sew it all together. Obviously once I've, you know, overlocked the edges there. But yes, so I have my little bit of tiger's eye left. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with that now, but that's done. So in May I only stitched I only stitched for 18 days in May, which actually, you know, isn't far off an acceptable. I think my goal was to do about 22 stitches, 22 stitchy days each month to get to my 300 for the year. So 18 isn't far off 22, so that's fine. But like I said, a lot of those stitchy days, there really wasn't a lot of stitching done, actually. But I found some bee stickers to put in because I finished my bumblebee one. So yeah. And so for May, so April I did 21,536 stitches, and in May I did 10,858, so about half the number of stitches, give or take, than I had in previous month. This was actually my lowest month for the year. Even February, which I know is my struggle month, I still did almost 15,000. So yeah, I really did not stitch this month. And like I said, partly that's been sort of just not being able to stitch much in a stitching day. So yes, that's my, but you know, I got my goals, my 3 goals, which I did get. So you know, we got those done. But yes, you know, before I go into life update, let's do some shopping. So as I did mention with that one, there was a Stitchy shop, an LNS, local needlework store in Great Yarmouth. Please don't ask me what it's called because I can't remember. If I get a chance to Google it, Editing Zoe will add it in. I can guarantee you it's the only one, so if you type in cross stitch shop Great Yarmouth, it will come up. Like it's literally the only one. So we don't have many sort of needlework shops in the UK, so it will pop up if you Google it, I'm sure. But yeah, so while I was there I did pick up a few things. So I actually did go to this shop twice. Now I will admit that was because I did need, because I'd only bought the one skein of the tiger and I had to go back and get another one, and I knew she stocked weeks. So I thought I'm going to drive back and when we were leaving, I thought, well, I'll drive back, call in, pick up the thread and then head off home. So yeah, so that was my excuse. I did have to go back and get my thread. Makes it sound bad, I did only actually pick up one other item when I was there. Okay, right. I'm just going to go top down of the pile in no particular order. Things that I bought. Oh, I grabbed some of this. So this is the hemline tacky glue. Now I've seen people using this. I'm sure I had an actual project in mind for it, but I know this is suitable for to sort of go on fabrics. It's a hemline brand, which is a sewing, you know, dressmaking, you know, hand sewing company. So yes, yeah, remove glue residue. So dries in 24 hours. Fast and tacky glue. So it has a very small nozzle, and yeah. But I thought, well, that would come in handy for some of the finishing, especially like attaching awkward seams and things, or narrow seams. Just attach them and then sew them. I can use that. So also, I think, I'm pretty sure it was like £2 or something. So I thought, you know what, I'll just grab some. I'll either use it or I won't. But there we go. And then I saw she also, amongst all the weeks, she did have some of the Royal Rainbow Gallery threads. I love the Silk Lame. This is my favourite sparkly floss to use. She only had like 3 colours. She had the gold, the copper, and then like a bright green. So I picked up these 3, 2 of the 3. So that's SP 61 for the sort of yellowy gold, and SL 62 for the darker brown. I mean, to be fair, they're not far off a couple of brands, so I would say that's probably like 436, 437 DMC, and that's probably 434, 433 brown. So that's the kind of shades they are. Then they have the sparkle in them, which obviously makes them that colour. So I picked up those 2 as well. Now she did very nicely wrap up all the fabric that I've got, so, which I honestly hadn't realised she was doing. I was absolutely not paying attention. So I will see if I can open. This is a out of stock, not out of stock, end of line. So this is a Permin in mulberry, and 32 count. But I just loved the sort of pink. It's like a blush pink colour. It's looking very orangey on the camera. I can't think offhand of the DMC colour that this would match. Okay, it's not far off 3721. It's a bit pinker than 3721. So there we go. It does come in handy having that, you know, that one chart that has almost every colour in. But yeah, so Permint Mulberry. Like I said, she did say it was no longer being dyed, so if you do find any, grab it while you can. Then I did want to get some more like neutral colours, because I don't have a lot of neutrals, which I noticed when I was trying to find I can't remember what project it was now. I was trying to find a neutral like brownie beige for a project, and I just didn't have any. All of the brownie beiges had to be overly mottled, which was great for the things, you know, that you would need an overly mottled for, but they weren't that smooth mottling. So I picked up this. This is a 40 count linen of Mani di Donna frog grey, which is not actually grey at all. Oh no, it does have little bits of grey in. So speckles of grey, but lots of brown, and kind of almost like a more of a skin tone brown. So it's slightly pinky brown in there. But yeah, so I picked that one up. This is a Weeks Dye Works gunmetal. I mean, I suppose it's technically a neutral, but yeah, so much more bluer than it's showing up on my screen. But yeah, kind of like indigo denim, like a pair of in old indigo jeans. I would say this matches well. But it wasn't a colour that I'd really seen before, so I grabbed that. So yeah, that's a 32 count linen. Then this is a couple more of the little scraps she's got. So I just picked this one up. Graziano Natural Cream. So this is checker, like a check. Is it check? Oh gosh, what's the gingham? There we go, like a gingham piece. So that's just a little 10 by 16 inch piece there. And then this is vintage stone, which kind of looks like a very pale marble. But yeah, so I got that one as well. Was this? Did I get this from her? I must have done. Yes, it's definitely not the one that I did have, so I must have got it from her as well. So this is Dance of the Roses. This is the lavender and lace. And I did pick it up because I did really like the skirt, like the huge skirt with the flowers on it. I just like the way it sat. But yeah, so that's that one there. And yeah, that's Dance of the Roses. And that's by Marilyn. So that's Nora Corbett's. Is it Nora Corbett's mum that did Lavender and Lace? But yes. Now my sister, where she lives, there is someone that has an A3 scanner and like photocopier. So which is good because these charts, I'm pretty sure, in the same way that the Mirabilia charts are printed on a very large piece, but page 1 and page 2 are opposite sides of the front piece, which is fine for stitching until you come to the crossover part when you can't line the two pieces up. You're having to constantly like flip back and forth, and I just find that very difficult to do, and make sure you're doing it correctly. So yeah, so she's found someone that does A3 photocopying, so I'm going to get at least one side of that photocopied up, so that at least when I come to the border part, the join, I can actually line up the two pieces of the chart together, and then I can make sure I'm lining up and counting correctly. So yes, that's really... So I just said Coco is, I don't know if I can show you, she's sitting on my lap, but she's now like covered in all the little bits of like fabric. She's not bothered, clearly. Oh yeah, Coco, proof of life, please. There we go. Yes. But yeah, not bothered, are you, princess? Yes. Okay, you can go back to sleep now. Thank you. But yeah, I just looked down and she's absolutely covered in these tiny pieces of fabric. I mean, so am I. Like, you know, I've got like little bits of stuff. Now I know why she wrapped them up in tissue paper. But yes, anyway, next one we got a couple of the charts. Got this chart. Now this did make us laugh. So this is the Gingerbread Retreat Cottage. Now I thought, I don't know whether to keep this as a gingerbread house or whether to do it just as a sort of regular decorative house. You know, I quite like the hardanger on the roof, but it doesn't have to be gingerbread style. I could do that in any colour, and I could make the house, you know, a regular brick colour. I can make the house white and have this hardanger actually done in a like dark brown, like the tiles of a roof. And then apart from Santa, who is in one of the rooms, I could just change the colour of his outfit and then he wouldn't be Santa anymore, he would just be a regular person. But yeah, so this is a Victoria Sampler company, and there was quite a few different buildings and things, but this one did tickle my fancy. As you can see, we've got a tree, there's a church, there's a couple of other different buildings there. This is one I got. Now the thing that really tickled me about this chart, and to be fair, it was one of the reasons I got it, and I thought do I crop this person out or do I keep them in? And I thought, no, I've got to keep them in if I stitch it because this will be very comical. Is so we have all these ladies, I say ladies, people stitching. We have Santa, so I will redo him, and then we have this person just snooping in the window. viewers, we have a peeping Tom on this piece. You cannot tell me this is not a peeping. He's not at the door. The door is here. He's not knocking on the door. He's snooping through the window. He's snooping through the window. So yes, we have a peeping Tom on this piece. And I just thought that was very comical. So I was like, okay. I was like, I'm going to get this piece. But yes. Now, there are some charms and things on there. So obviously we've got this gingerbread man here. There's a star here. There's some beads and little buttons here. You can, I mean, I don't know if you can. You could get the charm pack. I don't know if you still can buy the charm pack from the company. Oh, this is part 9. So there's at least 9 parts to this village. But to be fair, they're just beads, different star beads. If I'm just doing this as a regular house and not a gingerbread house, I don't need the little gingerbread man button. That would make no sense on there. So I thought I can just, you know, do them as other little beads or charms or things that I find as we go. I mean, I know with the, you watch me not be able to find it now. So with the Christmas market sale, Megan has to send a little charm or something with each piece, and in the piece that had the wreath stand, she did send me a little wreath charm. So I could put this little wreath on the door. It doesn't have to be a Christmas wreath, but you know, either way, even if it is, I could add the wreath charm onto there. Well, I'm sure I have a variety of other charms similar to this that I could do. I know the if any of you remember the houses that I'm doing, the monthly mini village, so that had like the 4 houses and the 2 little people in the middle for each month. And also with that Sal, she was sending little charms and other little trinkets and things. So I might have some in there that I could, you know, attach. So I'm sure I could cobble together my own little charms and buttons and things to put on something like this. But yes. So it's only from 2017 actually. I thought it was older than that for some reason. I think I misread the date. It's 2007 the first time. So actually 2017 they might still be selling the charm packs. But anyway, but yes, that's Victoria, the Victoria Sampler, and the website is victoriasampler.com. Yes, so there's that one. And then I got this chart as well. Oh, and this did come with the fancies bit, and it is, the fancies are in my way. So this is the Just Nan 20 Haunted Windows Pentagon Ball, limited edition 2025. And I got the little charm pack with it, but it's basically, like it says, 20 different windows. So it's a 20-sided, I was going to say dice there. It's in the shape of a 20-sided dice. It is a dodecagon. But yes, I've never stitched a Just Nan before, but I know she's done like the little, just a lot of the little mice are Just Nan, but there's a whole host of different shaped, so they're all 3D. Well, I mean, I'm sure she does 2D designs as well, but what I'm thinking of is they're all 3D, a variety of shapes and styles. I know, I'm sure, did someone say they'd done the 2024 Halloween one? That was at the retreat. I'm sure someone said they had done. But anyway, irrelevant because I can't remember what the 2024 one was. But yeah, so this just looked quite fun. I'm sure I have some purple fabric somewhere that I could do it on. And obviously this is the little beads and then the little charms, and the rest of it's just DMC threads. I think it's charted for Weeks Peoria Purple Linen. But I'm sure I could find a purple linen. But yeah, so that will be a fun piece to try and do. I mean, I'm sure each of the little triangles looks easy enough. I'll have to get the chart out, but you know, it might be something fun to do. I know I was going to take part in Jason's countdown to Halloween. I'm sure he's calling it something much more imaginative than that. 6 months to Halloween, halfway to Halloween, halfway to Halloween. There we go. Because March was 6 months to Halloween, April was 6 months to Halloween. I can't remember. Anyway, at some point recently, it has been halfway to Halloween, and he started to sell halfway to Halloween. And I was going to take a part in that, but like I said, my May kind of went out the window. But you know, there's only 20 little triangles. I wonder if I could start doing, you know, one a week maybe. I don't know. Or have I got too much else on the go at the minute? I don't know. I might start this at Halloween and plan to do one a fortnight and have it done for the following Halloween, and that'll give me a couple of months to then put it together and actually get it sewn up. So I might try that one. So we might hold off on this until Halloween, and then it can be future Zoe's goal to do. But anyway, as long as no one comes out with another chart at Halloween that I would want to stitch, of course. So then, like I said, I did go back, and this was the chart that I picked up when I went back. It was in the window, and I only saw it when we were leaving the first time. So I thought if it's still there when I go back, I will pick it up. And lo and behold, it was. So this is Among Black Cats by RTO, and it's just a cat plonked over the arm of a sofa. And yeah, I just thought it looked quite comical. Looks quite a small chart. I'm sure it's probably not, but you know, shouldn't be too much effort. Is the full kit. I will be changing out the Ada. But yeah, that'd be quite a fun one to do. Whoops. And then these two bits, one from the shop. These are from the D-stash from ladies that also attended the retreat. So I picked up this. This is from Arts and Designs, but it's a panna piece called number 261. I'm sure it has an actual name. Oh yeah, White Lace Bird. But it's like a little robin. And I thought this looked quite cute, quite effective on the background. I'm not sure if I'll use the Ada or if I'll change that out. Plus I'll have to see how the Ada feels as to whether I keep it on there. I think the thread's in there with it as well. Yes, it is, but I'm pretty sure it's just white. So even if it wasn't, it would be quite easy to get hold of. Yes. Oh, actually, talking of white, now I'm going to interject on something that's I probably should have mentioned earlier. Remember this one? I'm doing this with raw broderie threads as called for with the colours, except one colour which is the, please hold, 3865, which is the winter white, which is the one that most of the snow is in, because I've very nearly run out, and there is a decent amount of snow still on this tree, so I 100% will not have enough with one skein. So I had to buy an skein. I did just grab it from Hobbycraft when I was there, so yes, it was £1.50, but I thought by the time I like either wait until I need some other colours and order it from the raw broderie place, or order it and just pay the shipping, it's going to be more than that anyway. So I thought I'm trying to bite the bullet and order it, because I think I've only got one length left of the white, and I'm like, if I use that on my next stripe, then I'm going to now be waiting to order it. So I just grabbed it, but nowhere in here did it say, and I've read it several times, so I'm 99% sure it doesn't say that you will need 2 skeins of that colour. So I'm hoping that the other colours I won't need more than 1 skein of. I mean, most of the other colours seem to be getting on okay. The only one I'm conscious about is one of the weeks, which is, which one is it? The Pamlico, which is what the these branches are done in, because the branches of this tree, the trunk is done in it as well. So I'm hoping that I don't run out of that one as well, because getting hold of a single week's strand is going to be obviously a lot harder than getting a hold of one DMC colour. But yeah, but we'll keep fingers crossed. But yeah, nowhere did it say that, oh well, you'll need two skeins of these ones. You know, there wasn't like, I know sometimes they have like a little star next to it that says, you know, and then it says you'll need multiple skeins. Like on the Mirabilias, it has a little dot that's like, okay, you need 2 skeins of these or whatever. Didn't say that on there. And anyway, back to the retreat. So I also picked up this from a lady. This is Wild and Free, another Stony Creek. This is book 22. And it's all different wild animals. Now I'll admit the one that I fell in love with was this lioness sleeping in the tree. I'll see if there's a bigger image. I highly doubt it. It has been, you know, it's not brand new. It's had highlighter on it. You can still read it. Where are we? Do we have a bigger image? Probably not. Why would we have a bigger photo? That would make too much sense. But yeah, that one there. There's also orca on here. You've got tigers, you've got little baby seals, which are quite cute, and the peregrine falcon with some eggs. But mainly for the lioness piece, which is actually not. Oh, it's a mountain lion. Okay, mountain lion, lioness. You can't really tell from the detail on it what it is, so it could be either. I mean, we're looking at like what, maybe it's only about say 3,000 stitches, and that because obviously the tree is just back stitched, so it's probably about 3,000 stitches maybe in that lion. So technically it's a very small piece. Stitching wise, it's obviously just big because you have the tree back stitched in. But yeah, but I thought, well, that looks quite good, quite nice, and you know, easy enough. Little cat sleeping in the tree. But yeah, the charts are hand drawn, so I know some of us struggle more with the hand drawn charts as opposed to computer generated charts. But to be fair, none of the charts are that big and that confetti heavy that it would be difficult to do. As you can see, some of the charts use red symbols as well as black to make it easier to distinguish. See there's a lot more red on the gorilla one. But yeah, but anyway, let's pick that one up as well. One thing I forgot, because I put it on this side of me, that I grabbed, was this. Now, I'm not sure. Now, the lady did apologise because she had the way she'd written the size was, I read it wrong, so I read it the wrong way around, and she did apologise because she was like, oh, I can see why you would have read it that was the size, but you know, so obviously it was, when she explained how she'd written it, I was like, oh, of course that makes sense as well. So it was just a very innocuous way to say it. But this is oh gosh, what did you call this stuff? Like a bell pull style. So it's just a long thin. So it's got the decorative ends there, and it's about 6 inches wide. And I think she measured this out. It was about 6, maybe 7 feet. I'm pretty sure that she actually gave me those measurements in metric and told me it was like 1.80 m something. I've spent much too long in the fabric world to know what that meant, so I kind of smiled and nodded and was like, I'm sure that'll be fine. Now, this piece, this is all for one project. Now, have any of you seen the Turtles All the Way Down chart from Ink Circles? Don't worry, I'm sure future Zoe will add a picture in for you all. So I have the so I'm just doing the little bow back up. I have the Terry Pratchett books, so the special edition ones. So I love Terry Pratchett. I love the Discworld books, and anyone that knows the Discworld will already know this, but the Discworld the universe the Discworld exists in is, the world is a disc, and that disc sits on top of 4 elephants, and the elephants sit on top of a turtle, and then it's, you know, in the actual Discworld itself, that's it, and then the turtle swims around. But I know in other stories you've heard, and then what's the turtle on? It's like, oh, another turtle, and it's turtles all the way down. So that's how that chart linked with that novel story. And this chart, what I want to do is I want to do 1 turtle for every novel in the book, every novel in the series, and I want to do the colour of the turtle to match the colour of the book, and that's how I'm going to do it. And it was a very last minute thing when I saw that she had this in, because I was like, oh, I never actually worked out how much I need, so I had to kind of Google the chart, get the size of the chart, kind of estimate the size of the turtles of the chart, multiply that by the number of books that are in the series, and then convert that into inches and hope that I did it correctly. And I think what I came out to was that I would need about 2 meters, so 8 feet, 7 feet. And it looked like there was 2 meters on there, so I was like, oh, 2 meters, that'll be fine. However, there wasn't 2 meters. The 2 was to do with the how many centimeters it was. It was 22 centimeters long, not 2.2 meters long. 22 centimeters wide, sorry. So I'm hoping that it will be enough for what I need, but I do need to actually sit down and work it out properly, like with actual math, and make sure it's going to fit. It may be that I need to, so as you can see from the chart, you've got a bunch of the turtles are the same size, and then they sort of go down very rapidly. So it may be that I kind of start to decrease the size of the turtle a bit slower, so that there's, instead of having one that's a little bit smaller and then one that's smaller and one that's smaller, I do say 5 that are a bit smaller, and then 5 and 5, so that it takes up slightly less room on the whole thing. I don't know, but that's going to involve more maths than my brain has the energy for right now. So at some point I will work it out, and if it's not going to be right for that piece, I can either find another use for part of it, or there is the best part of, you know, 2 meters there. I'm sure if anyone needs a bit, I can cut it up and sort of sell it on, or give parts of it away if it's not right. Anyway, last bit of shopping is a piece from Megan. This is 36 count linen from Coffee Craft fabric, and it's a big piece. I think it's a fat half, maybe. This is the piece that she dyed for the Lola Crow Sal, her new one, which is the museum piece. I'm getting that chart to do. I'm not doing it right now, obviously. I have too many other things on the go, but I will have it and I will do it. And my sister also wants to do that piece, so I thought, well, I will grab the fabric while she's dyeing it up, and I made sure to grab a piece that will be big enough that if my sister also wants to do it on the same piece, I can cut it in half and it'll be big enough to do it both. If she doesn't, to be fair, it's kind of a neutral grey. You know, I could use this for other charts, so it's not an unusual colour that it's like, oh no, what do I do with a fat quarter of whatever. I will be able to do it with other things. And then I also got some of these from, again, which are needle minders. So these are the dinosaur ones. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the T-Rex that she had. Is it a T-Rex or a Brachiosaurus? Whichever one I can get, but I could get these 3, so these are what I got. So you got the pterodon, the triceratops, and stegosaurus. But yeah, so I picked up those 3 as well. My nephew is still very much into the dinosaurs. He was pretending to be a triceratops the other day, bounding around on all 4s, roaring like a triceratops. So, but yes, so there we go. That is shopping done. Now that I've made a nice mess everywhere. But yes, so that's all my stitching done. I have finished a couple of knitting things, but this video is probably already long enough as it is, so I will leave those and I can show them all on their own another time. But yes, next up, so bit of a life update, sort of health update. Coco's still fine, having her inhaler. She knows exactly what time of day she has her inhaler, and she does like to sit and stare at you until you do it. So I was sat there with my cup of tea in the morning and she sat like 3 inches away from me, just staring, waiting for me to finish my cup of tea so that she can have her inhaler and then her treat. So, you know, she's still getting on fine. Again, hasn't had any attacks since we've been on the inhalers, so she's all good. I do have to fill in the pet insurance claim form for her inhalers though, because I've just bought her new round of inhalers and they were £83 for 2 inhalers. And she's uses 2 different ones, so £83 for 1 lot of inhalers. So yeah, they're not cheap, but you know, that's what insurance is for. So but yeah, but me wise, so obviously as you could tell, I hadn't done half as much stitching in May as I normally would. I've been really struggling with sort of my health recently. I kind of did too much and I'm still paying for that. So I had the retreat in April, which was fine. It took a bit of recovering from, but I was like, oh, I'm sure I'll be fine. Like, you know, I made sure to take my medication, do all the things, you know, not sit in the sun, not go out, not do this, not do that, you know. So I wasn't great when I got home. It was a long drive, but I think, what was the drive? 3 hours drive. So, you know, not that bad, but you know, still a decent length of time. But I've still been having problems with my back from last September, and they have been getting kind of progressively worse. I'm starting to lose a lot of the use of my arms. A lot of the strength in my arms is going, so you know, exercises like physio that I used to be able to do, now I'm really struggling to do those same exercises. So I am seeing a physiotherapist. I can't remember when my next appointment is. I'm going to see her. The GP does want to send me for an MRI on my back to see, because obviously the problem is now ongoing and it hasn't resolved. So I'm wondering if maybe there's a nerve trapped or impinged or something that's causing the issues. I don't know. That's kind of the squishy stuff. I don't tend to deal with the squishy stuff. I do bones, and I know it's not broke, so that's the extent of my you know, knowledge of the bones. But obviously I've got to wait to see the back specialist first and see if they agree that I need a MRI before they refer me for that. So I've been having a lot of problems with my hip, dislocating more and more lately. Now I pretty much can't lay flat on my back without my hip falling out of joint, my femur falling out of the joint. So I am waiting to see someone about that as well. Sort of go, you know, for an X-ray, see if there's, you know, if the joint is still secure or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what they'll do. You know, regardless of the outcome of the X-ray. I mean, there's going to be nothing wrong with it at the exact time that I go for the X-ray, because it's not broken. Like, So I'm not entirely sure what the point of that is and what they would do based on the outcome of it. It's been really hard to stay upright for a long amount of time. So I keep having to sort of do a bit and then kind of lay down 5-10 minutes and then do some more, and then lay down for 5 or 10 minutes and then do something else. So lots of getting up and laying down at the minute. I'm not entirely sure if it's as a result of the new medication they've got me on or not, I don't know. Or if I'm just sort of recovering from doing too much back in April. So I had the retreat. That wasn't too bad. I did have a couple of days where I wasn't very well when I was there. And sort of I think one day I spent most of the couple of days I spent most of the afternoon in bed, just lying down, sort of bad stomach, bad back, sort of thing. But then came back and I wasn't too bad when I come back, you know. Then I went away with some other friends for, you know, sort of overnight. That was down in Framlingham, I think, down that way. And I was really unwell when I was down there. But, you know, I kept going, which I probably shouldn't have done, but I pushed and I kept going. And I come back and it's difficult to tell now. It's like, am I just recovering from that? Like, am I paying for that? Or is, you know, the sort of weakness I'm having in my shoulders from my back? So has my back caused something that's ongoing? Like, I don't know. I have been on, so since I had a sort of mini stroke probably about 18 months ago, my blood pressure has been really unstable. So it goes really high and then it goes really low. It doesn't kind of level out any. It just can constantly going up and down, up and down, up and down. I've seen cardiology and I've seen neurology and I've seen the dysautonomia clinic. And sort of cardiology, couldn't find anything. Neurology was kind of 50-50. They're like, well, it could be a neuro thing, might not, but there's no way to tell if it is. It's kind of a process of elimination diagnosis. And we haven't eliminated everything yet. So they're like, well, it still could have some cardiac involvement or some sort of autonomic function involvement. So then I went down to the dysautonomia clinic in London. Had some tests there and some scans and like the 24-hour heart monitors and blood pressure machines and that, and they've come back and this is no, it's not a autonomic dysfunction thing, like it's not related to that. It does seem to be a cardiac issue, and they were like, did the cardiologist, you know, did they test you for this and this? They rattled off 3 or 4 different things, and I was like, no, we didn't do that test. No, they didn't tap bloods. No, they didn't check this. And they're like, okay, well, maybe they should do that. So I've come back to cardiology now, so I'm waiting for the results for a couple of those tests. But in the meantime, they've had me on a whole array of blood pressure medication. And like I said, this last month, I've been on this new one because none of the blood pressure medication has stopped my blood pressure from fluctuating, or kind of narrowed the fluctuation to an acceptable level. So the standard blood pressure should be about 120/80. Mine's going up to maybe 150/120, and then going down to like 90/50. And it's making those changes quite quick. So yeah, we're struggling to kind of, you know, get the high numbers lower and the low numbers higher. A couple of medications has kind of brought both numbers down, which is quite concerning because your blood pressure gets too low. That's not conducive with life. and then if the numbers get too high, obviously that is, you know, very dangerous as well. So it's trying to kind of get them to both come back to normal, which we're struggling with. I mean, some of the medications had no discernible effect at all on my blood pressure, which is, you know, inconvenient. But we've just been on this new one now, and like I said, I'm really struggling with just being upright. So it's very tiring having to sort of go and lie down every couple of hours. I mean, sort of lie down for sort of 5-10 minutes. And my blood pressure's dropping quite fast sometimes. I can actually feel it happening in real time as my brain starts to almost like power down, as I can feel myself sort of getting, it kind of feels like getting more tired, like that you're really tired, like you're falling asleep, you're so tired. But then the minute you lie down and the blood flow is restored to your brain, you're kind of wide awake, all perked up again. So it's a very strange feeling. But like I said, I don't know if that's just this new medication or if it's, you know, just from doing too much last month. I don't know. So yeah, they won't be on this medication for about 3 months before we decide whether it's having enough of an effect, if any, to be worth it. So I have to keep taking this medication. That's not what it is because I can't remember. I can probably tell you what it's not, and I can battle off the ones that I know it's not, but I can't remember what this one is called. But yeah, so still nowhere with my anesthesiology appointments. So they were supposed to be following up with Cambridge. I'm still waiting for that. So I have chased that, and they're like, oh yeah, we're still waiting for Cambridge to like review the referral and tell us what to do, sort of thing. So still waiting for that one. I'm hoping it's not going to be too much to wait, because my kidneys, my bladder are starting to really struggle without having, you know, the procedure that I should have had back in March. So we're now, what, March, April, May, so two months overdue, and I can feel it that I am overdue. I don't know how much longer I'm going to have to wait for them to work out what they're doing. Like, I've got nothing. Like, you know, I can't even guess how long it would be. Hopefully it will be quicker than the speed at which my kidneys are failing, because obviously once they start to fail, they're gone. Like they don't stop then. So I'm in pre-early kidney failure at the minute, and obviously once we get into early kidney failure, then it's a very slippery slope into kidney failure. So we're kind of treading that line at the minute, and I'm hoping that they will work this out on their side before my kidneys give out. Fingers crossed. But yes, so yeah, lots of waiting. And like I said, I've got a few test results to pick up on, a couple of referrals to make. Seem we've had a falling out with one of the GPs. First time I've ever seen this GP, and not only did she call me old, she also called me fat, which, like, I know I'm overweight, like that's fine. But yeah, and she says, what did she say? She says, oh well, you are over 30 now. As if everyone over the age of 30 gets problems with blood pressure and stuff, and I'm like, I don't think that's it. I don't think, of all the things that it might not be, that's the least one that it would be. So yeah, an interesting appointment. but like I said, we'll see. We're waiting for lots of results and on lots of other things at the minute, which is hard because a lot of it's just waiting. You know, you ring up and you're like, oh, you got the results yet? They're like, oh no, ring back next week. Or, well, you know, we'll ring you when you got the results. And it's like, well, how long am I supposed to be waiting? You know, it's been like 6 weeks now and you said it'd take 7 to 10 days. Have you lost the test? Like, anyway, into June. Hoping June will be a bit nicer for stitching and stuff. What have we got for June? So June's work go was a bit more. The numbers drawn were 21 and 12, which for me gave me a total of 3,400 stitches. So the biggest number is still on the board to pick. But yeah, so 3,400 shouldn't be too bad. Also got my stocking, my market to do, and Charlie. Stitching with Charlie is doing a, is it Just Finish It June and July, something like that. Hopefully I'll remember before posting the video and I'll add it in, or I'll probably tag it in the description. But yeah, so I'm hoping to get my biscornu sewn up together, so my B one, and maybe the drum that I made from the Quaker, so the Leela Studio Quaker drum that I have stitched, but I just haven't actually sewn it together to make a drum. So I might be able to get those two finished this month, so they will be fully finished. I am sure I have many other things that need fully finishing. Can I think of any of them offhand right now? No. But you know, we'll start. We'll try with those two, and then if I can think of anything else that I've got that needs finishing, I might have a look at them. But we'll start. I need to get at least the biscornu finished. That would be nice. But yeah, what else have we got this month? We've got the Nobam retreat that's in a couple of weeks. That is in Northampton. Not sure what to take that, apart from my memorabilia. Not sure what else I'll be taking. I suppose it depends how well I get on with my sort of my market stall and that. If I haven't had a chance to work on it yet, I'll probably be taking that. So it's just a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But you know, that's two good days of stitching that I can get in, so we'll see. I'm starting to get tired again now, so I am going to go for a lie down and maybe look at editing this after I've had a nap, and then tidy up and put away this pile that I've got of, you know, fabric and stickers and tissue paper. But yes, so that is everything. So thank you for watching, if indeed you still are. I do appreciate this has been a very long and probably tedious video, but we're all up to date, and I will see you hopefully at the end of the month with some more progress and hopefully a fully finished object. But yes, so like I said, thank you for watching and I will see you soon. So I love you lots. Bye bye.